if no one is going to tell you this, I will tell you. Till you understand these 4 key points that I'm about to talk about in this video, your designs will keep hot in the eyes and you keep wondering what you're doing wrong as a designer. And the question would be, why do I design better when I'm just replicating the design I see online, and when it's time for me to basically do my personal concept, I am just doing rubbish? Not really rubbish, but you know that it's just not what you are envisioning, it's not how you want it to be, and then you keep asking why. It just boils down to these 4 basic things that a lot of us are not paying attention to. So when it comes to designing UI interfaces, a lot of things are put into consideration. However, we sometimes focus on the big aspects than the smaller ones that are not necessarily small, but we don't see them as a big deal, like creating mood board, or getting inspiration. You get your hero session inspiration from this site, you get your about session from this particular aspect. You're not necessarily trying to understand the basic. The moment you understand the basics, it will help you a whole lot going forward in all the designs that you're going to be taking on as a designer. So what are these 4 basic things you need to pay attention to? The first one is understanding color theory. Now, color goes beyond you getting the correct color palette. It goes as far as you understanding the proportion to which you want to assign each color to. Now, there is this rule, which is the 60-30-10 rule when it comes to color. The 60 being the dominant color. This can also be called the primary color for your design. Now, this is something you'd see the most on the website. Now, sometimes it could be the background of your design and you'd see everywhere it is the primary color. Now let's move to the 30% fraction. Now this is the secondary color. You pick a color that complements the primary color, and this is not taking a bigger fraction like the primary color, but also it's kind of occurring a whole lot. Now it could basically be a color you assign to a particular section. You see certain sites that have 2 different color shades when you're scrolling up and down the website. You'd see a dominant one, obviously, and in one section you see another color. That might be the secondary color. Now this can be used however you want to use it. Just understand the concept of choosing a dominant color and the one that is not really dominant but will still occur the most in your design. Now the last part is the accent color. Now this can be the buttons, the icons, or little elements you want to add on your website. It could be layer block color or any other things that you want to add to your design. Now, having a clear understanding of this color theory would help you make better choices whenever you come across any color palette, and that way you'll be able to create designs that are not hurting the eyes with the color and have greater proportion to color. Also, when it comes to color, you want to understand contrast, the type of font color you want to put on the background. Having a clear understanding of this too will help you with your design output. Now the next thing I want you to pay attention to is typography. So you understand typography in full, and I'm not talking about you knowing how to make selections when it comes to font, but you're understanding the whole concept in typography. You keep selecting fonts based on maybe popularity, or maybe someone is using it, you don't understand why they are using it. You want to understand font family, what font you can use for what design. The font you use for Web3 designs or crypto design is different from the ones you use for editorial designs. Aside from knowing what font to use, you also want to understand how to manipulate that font. I'll use the word manipulate because you need to know the line height for that particular font, letter spacing, the font size, the font weight that is appropriate for the font that you basically select to use. And aside from that, another thing you want to consider is type scales. There are several type scales in typography. We have the golden ratio, we have the minor second, major second, minor third, major third. Now, to be honest, I literally heard about the golden ratio when I was given an interview test as a beginner. And I started asking myself that what exactly is a golden ratio, and I had to go do my research, and I realized that remove your basic or the go-to type scale you have in mind, which is basically you put in 16 or going 12 14 16 18 20 22, which is quite common. There are certain type scales that are used for certain designs. You would see certain websites that are designed with just text and they look fantastic, but they have different type scales. Like you'd see one at 120 something and the other is about 43. There's just several things you need to understand in typography, and until you get a concept about it, you might keep designing stuff that you're not pleased with because you're just not getting it. Now, the third thing I want you to pay attention to is grid system. Now, to you, it might not necessarily seem important and you're just still designing however you want, but grid system is going to make your design clean. You're going to know how to, the particular height you assign for your content area. It's going to make your design have a definite layout and have this professional finish that you're looking for. And overall, grid helps you arrange elements on your design, making it look clean. And you want to understand that there are several types of grid system. We have the bento grid, we have the ones for dashboard, we have the one for websites, and the appropriate grid for a mobile application design. You want to understand the difference between the gutter size, the margin, padding, especially when you're designing. You want to put into factor the differences. Sometimes I always make mine divisible by 8, so whatever spacing I'm putting between my elements are always divisible by 8 or 4, so it's easy for the developer to basically work with and implement. So you should understand this, as that's going to help you get the clean look on your app. Some people don't use grid system, but they use a mean of measuring. Some people use the ruler tool. I've seen someone use the ruler tool on Figma to align their element. But to save yourself the stress, I want you to understand what grid systems are, as this is going to help you a whole lot. If you've watched this video to this point, do also give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, do want to subscribe, and also share this video to people that you know would benefit from this video. Now lastly, I want you to pay attention to how to use shadow in a design. The difference between your design looking tacky and somebody else's design looking clean literally can boil down to the shadow effect on your design. Using shadow basically helps us, create illusion of basically replacing certain things on the flat surfaces, or elevating certain objects on flat surfaces, or giving certain objects dimensions. Like it could be 3D dimension, or this thing is floating and it has a shadow effect underneath, so it shows that it's literally on top of something. Now, understanding how to use shadow effectively would help your design go from like a 0 to 100 plus the other ones I mentioned. So you want to understand when to use harsh shadow, when to use soft shadow. There is a particular design style that I would call brutalism. They use bold, well, I say harsh or bold, but yeah, they use like bold shadow. And this, sometimes you would see people do that design and you don't understand why they would have that kind of harsh shadow. But if you are someone that understands the concept of shadows, you would know that they are using the particular shadow effect for the particular design style that they are going for. So those are the 4 key things that you need to pay attention to. If you think like your designs are hurting the eyes and they're not really fantastic, maybe you should just pay attention to those 4 points that I made mention of and improve on them, or go relearn on something. Trust me, everybody is still learning, so you just want to pay attention to them more and learn in-depthly about all the things. And trust me, your design skill will go from a 0, or let's say like 15 or 20, it's not 0, 15 or 20 to about 100, because it would help you a whole lot in your next design. Do also leave a comment if you had the struggles before and what you did to basically overcome it. And if you also feel I omitted a point, mention it in the comment section for other people to learn as well. And have a great day.